Okay, so if you're seeing this, you're probably having conflict with your inner self. You're struggling to make sense of a purpose. What is your purpose? Do I have to have a purpose? Are they going to impose their will on me? Things like that. And it depends. It really depends. I'm not going to sit there and just tell you, yes, you have to have a purpose. And I'm not going to just tell you, yes, they're going to just, enforce their will, or no, they're not going to just enforce their will. It depends. It depends on you. It depends on your value. And it depends on what you're willing to do to discover who you are and how bad do you really want to lead. Or would you rather have somebody else, driving the car? Now, this personal journey I'm talking about is one that's a longing from inside that you've been feeling since you were a kid. If you have one of those, have you went and pursued it, and what level have you pursued it? How much effort in of your time did you put into it? And if you really aren't willing to put all of everything you have into it, it might not be best to pursue it. Sometimes it is best to just be a part of a team. But everybody has their own individual mind. Everybody has their own individual dream. And remember, there's nothing wrong with either one. People are going to sit there and tell you, oh, you got to do this, or oh, you can do whatever you want to do. It's all up to you. It's all, in the end, it all comes down to you and what you want to do. So remember that when you're making these choices. But it's important to weigh the pros and cons of each and understand yourself to the best you can. You see, like I did pursue a team ventured lifestyle when I was younger, you know, and I was doing a bunch of street stuff. You feel me? And we rolled together. That's what we did. But after a certain amount of time, after I had been locked up twice, I got out the second time and I began my own personal journey where I went somewhere where I never knew anybody, never met anybody, um, and really just started learning myself on my own. It revealed a lot about me. It revealed the importance of the team. It revealed strengths I didn't have. It revealed weaknesses I didn't have. It revealed a bunch. It was very revealing. But it's part of the process of life to understand what stage you're in, to understand the next stage. Because you might go from a team oriented stage to an individual oriented back to the team. Now you see the steps. And overall, these steps are either going to drift one way or the other. And as you look at it, what do you see? Do you see it drifting this way or this way? Now, what do you feel? Which way is it pulling you? Which way do you feel like you are falling towards? Side note, gravity itself is love in one dimension. Three dimensions, gravity, one dimension, love. That's why it doesn't physically pull you, you feel the pull. Another topic for another day. But understanding this is going to be key to your developing your journey and developing your life and finding your purpose. And it's okay, like I said, if you don't want to have or don't feel like you have or find a higher purpose. Contrary to what most people tell you, the way I understand life, this is not your only one. And there's a bunch of ways you can actually break it down. But we're getting into archetypes, we're getting into multi-dimensional things. We're getting into higher dimensional states. And sometimes to reach your higher dimensional state is to sit there and literally do nothing. Contrary to what most people, because most people are literally just trying to coerce you into working for their team so they can underpay you and utilize your energy. I am not doing that. I will tell you, you can do this or this. I will tell you the benefits and the costs. I will tell you if you want to be part of the team or not. I am not going to coerce somebody that doesn't want to be on my team because I don't want negative energy on my team, period. But yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is to sit there and literally do nothing and let reality catch up to you. You know what I mean? Because you don't need to be moving at everyone else's pace. Sometimes to find your own pace is to do nothing. And always be trying to understand more of yourself and never just accept who you are as is, but accept yourself for who you are, if that makes sense. You know, so if you accept yourself for who you are, you're accepting the fact that you're going to be flawed. When you do this, you're a perfect being because you understand your flaws are what give you that individuality. It'll give you that perspective. It'll give you that sauce. You feel me? Everybody wants a burger, but it's just a little bit better with sauce. And so in that aspect, always be able to take a look and be willing to look. Now to the world that though, you don't have to do that. Now, if it turns out you do want to do that, go do that. Go where your desires or your just intuition takes you to. You know what I'm saying? Don't force it. Don't think about it. That's the main thing is to take the mind away. Like not take it away, but take it out of the decision making to find your way. Because when you take your mind out of where you got to be controlling the car is just going to line up with the environment, right? Say you're rolling down a hill and you're trying to turn and get up off the hill. If you just let go and just go with the flow, it will eventually level out and find its lane on the rest of the way down the mountain. Then once you do that, then you can slow it down to the pace you want. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how your soul works because your purpose is going to be written in your spirit. It's not in your soul. It's in your spirit. Your spirit, you think of spirit like the space that contains your soul, right? And then your soul is what connects to your ego to give you life in the 3D form. So being able to do that, you can get in touch with yourself. But once you do that, once you realize you're at a pace, go with that flow. Go find that flow and then go play the game. Now remember, once you start the game, your grind, your vision, your purpose, whatever it is you're calling it, that comes first, right? It's always first. Then your goals, your mind after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I have to pay my rent today at 3 o'clock. I have to do this today at 2. You know what I'm saying? Then all of that stuff comes second, right? So that way you understand that hierarchy of things. You feel me? You don't put nothing over the vision. Nothing. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't do it because you're gonna disconnect from yourself, and because you really once you fulfill that, you're fulfilling. You really accompany will start to accompany like the fact that you are not you. You are a being inside of this vessel that is controlling you, and then you kind of get into the controller mode. This is the body, this is the avatar, and you on game mode. This is also a way people can cheat death. I put that in parentheses because that is a very complex topic. But you will understand. But yeah, you go play the game and just remember the grind, vision, purpose always come first. You know what I'm saying? You're essentially creating your own little world, literally. That's why I said, saying, this one gets complex, but you will understand why people like Kanye West say that he's a god. You feel me? Like sometimes I even say it. I'm a god. Jesus is a god. You know what I'm saying? Muhammad, Buddha, you get into that realm. You feel me? Like, and I want to see other people come to that realm. I want to see people up here. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Not everybody's gonna do it. Some people are gonna sit there like I can already tell somebody just made a comment. You know what I'm saying about this motherfucker don't know what he's talking about. To each his own, buddy. But yeah, what was I talking about? So remember that, you know what I'm saying, whether you want to be a team or the individual, they call this the left path and the right path, to serve others or to serve self, right? Now, remember, if you do take the individual path, it is to serve the self. There is nothing wrong with that if you are aligned properly. But if it goes wrong, it goes really, really wrong. You are talking about living into it, manifesting a type of hell, but the rewards are staggeringly insane. The right path, the team, you have more leeway to make mistakes. You got people that'll catch you if you're falling. You got people, but you're not gonna achieve these crazy, insane, superhero like things in your own, because you're not your own reality. You're sharing your reality, right? So, and it's also, as long as it matches up to the higher, all, as long as it's aligned with universal harmony, either way is fine. Um, so those are some things to consider, whether you want to go the individual or you want to just join somebody else. If you've made it this far, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. You obviously actually have an attention span. Uh, Consider that a blessing. This world, as you can see, people like that. They'll talk about one thing, they'll talk about a second thing. By the time they get to the third thing, it already contradicts their first point. So it's like, bro, why am I listening to this person? They're just making sounds and hoping somebody responds. You know what I'm saying? They're primitive. You feel me? Like they're not high on the scale. To each his own. What are you willing to do for yourself? How far are you willing to go? What are you willing to try? Have you seen the limits of your will? And that is important to know. And also, you want to know it, and you also want to understand the basic uh, foundation of your subconscious, because your subconscious is essentially your reality. For real, this your conscious mind, your subconscious mind is, constructing your reality. So what type of underlying beliefs are in your subconscious? And honestly, this is a side note. Learning to hack these things, you can come into different archetypes of yourself, where one sub archetype has these subconscious beliefs, this archetype has these subconscious beliefs. So you can navigate them realities by navigating the archetypes and understanding. That's another story for another day. But yeah, these subconscious tendencies will construct your reality. So depending on your subconscious beliefs, you may or may not be able to be violated against your will, but the basic premises, the basic, you know, average, the basic fundamental point, starting point, do unto others as you're willing to do upon as you would want done to you. So your actions are a reflection of how people will treat you. Do you want to have a inner law set up, right? You want to be able to be like, I don't cross this line unless they cross this line. Sometimes violence is not the answer. Violence is what you do when the answer don't work. something I use. You feel me? I'm not trying to get into it with nobody, but if I've tried being reasonable and they're still, you know, pressing up on me and I've been trying to be as reasonable and fundamentally sound as possible, okay. And you're not going to get no negative karma for that, because at this realm, once you're approaching this realm and you start this journey, your karma is going to be instant. You're like right on the cusp of transcending karma itself. So you'll go through that little phase where everything you've ever sent out is going to come back. And then, you can start understanding some of your fundamental beliefs and your reality. Like if you're a pessimist and you just a victim mindset and everybody's just out to hurt me and stuff like that, yeah, you're going to be violated egregiously. If you understand that you are the center of the universe, everything starts and ends with you, and you can actually look that up. Matter of fact, I actually encourage you to look that up after this. You are the center of the universe. Everything starts and ends with you, literally. So understanding this, now they can't do nothing to you unless you're engaged in it. Like even somebody that wants to fight you, they're gonna sit there and yell at you and stuff like that, and they're gonna try to make you engage. This is why people argue with people first. Nobody just a random stranger on the street. For that particular reason, you have to engage. Just like when the thought comes up and you don't, you see the thought, okay, and then go on about your day and just let it go. That thought has no impact. But if you're sitting there, you're dwelling on it, like, why does this keep coming up? You know what I'm saying? Now this thought starts to manifest throughout your life. If you pay attention to this negative behavior that they're giving you, it's going to manifest in your life. Are you afraid of it? Is there a subconscious thing, saying that you have to deal with and transcend? Sometimes that has to be done. There's a couple things I had to do when I got, I went through it. You feel me? Go through it. And once you through it, you through it. But your subconscious is going to dictate that. But usually they can't do nothing against your will unless you allow it to happen. Like you see, even the government's held in place because we all choose to believe that they're a government and they have power over us. Really, they don't. But since most of the population aren't individuals yet, they have it. If most of the population is their own sovereign individual on a spiritual level, no, they'll be like, bro, I ain't paying that shit. Fuck that. What are you talking about? But so that's understanding they can't touch you. You understand this because it's in your subconscious. Contextual reality. You can have different realities depending on the archetype you embody. The different archetype you embody is a reflection on your will. What are the things, like, what is the mindset when you're willing to do this? Obviously, when you're in a boxing ring, you have a different mindset than when you're playing a computer game. So you got to lay out the framework of how you get into these zones and, go through it and see like what you're willing and how far you're willing to do. How far you're willing to push that. How far you're willing to see what you're capable of. Do you know, say you want to be a boxer. Do you know how many punches you can land on average? Do you know the most punches you've ever landed in a fight? If you choose to play basketball, do you know how many shots you can make in a game? Do you know what your game high is? Right? Now you're starting to see the stats that they have in like sports and stuff like that. Do you have stats on your life? What's the most girls you pulled in a night? What's the most girl you've pulled in a year? What's the, you know what I'm saying? What's the, you know what I'm saying? Understand, in the things that you have these records on, you develop archetypes on. Some people only have drinking bodies. All right, so value. So what are one your values? What things do you value in life? Do you have a longing? Do you want to be accepted by everybody, or do you want to differentiate yourself from everybody? Do you want to individualize yourself, or do you want to mesh with everybody, or do you want to solidify yourself? Like it depends. You feel me? Like what do you value? What do you truly value? What do you like? What do you dislike? And then two, what is your value? Are you a valuable person? In what areas are you valuable? You know, some people are very valuable in a kitchen, but if you put them in a doctor's office, they're in the way. Vice versa. So where are you valuable at? And are you valuable as a team, or are you more valuable to yourself? You want something, you know, that you can latch on to quickly. Say you're valuable to yourself and you want to make sure you catch your purpose quickly. You would choose something to do with yourself. If you want to excel your growth, you would do something like, okay, I'm valuable to myself, I got to learn how to be valuable to the team. Now it's key to remember, you always have to be evolving, bar none. But this is a way to set kind of the pace in where the focus of your evolution will be. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, everything is everything. Everything is always as is in place, and everything is also always changing every second, every day. It just depends on the degree of perspective you take. Teach his own. You know what I'm saying? So understand your value to yourself and to the team. If you choose team life, you know what I'm saying? Understand that. Then you got to learn to be able to see others' values, right? What do they value? Where is their best value? Where are they least valuable? And be able to communicate that. As an individual, where is your value? And what values are you lacking where you could subsidize it? Um, is that the word? I don't think. I don't. Is that the word? I don't know. You can have some. You're not good at cutting grass, so you hire a guy to cut your grass, type thing. Nothing wrong with it. Anything in anything, any aspect, right? Because after you understand the value and your value and all of that, you're at the final step, which is, so what's your purpose? So this is just going to come down to you. What do you want to do? Right? If you don't choose your purpose, one will be chosen for you. Now, I've said that a couple times throughout here, and depending on the context, it has a completely different meaning. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It's all up to you. So you got to know when to choose and when to let things choose for you, because whatever you decide not to do or decide to not make a decision on, your environment, your reality will make it for you. Sometimes it's necessary to do, sometimes it's necessary to choose. That all comes down to you and what you want to do. To each his own. So, like, that's basically how you can get into the game. That's how your purpose is solely up to you. You know what I'm saying? And or it's up to the people you give it to, right? So whether you be a girl or a guy, right? And say you got somebody that you're looking up to and following, or somebody that you're doing it for yourself. You would ask who you're looking up to guide you. If you're doing it for yourself, you've got to make them choices for the people who ride with you. You got to know this. That's if you doing, if you want to, you're basically, once you choose your role, then you know whether you need to do your purpose or not. Because if you choose this role, you decide the purpose and all the intricate things. If you decide to follow, you're not making them choices, but you choose how they get done. You see what I'm saying? The first one, you choose and what get done. You might not necessarily choose how it gets done, but sometimes you can. But sometimes you don't choose how it gets done. You just choose what gets done. If that makes sense. Um, so that's just one way to make sense of the game. You feel me? Like, this is one way to make sense of all this. And, understand, like, when the steps I'm giving you, if you go through these steps, you're gonna go through some hate. You're gonna go through some hate, but it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the game. It's all part of everything. It's important to know. You feel me? But the main thing is, like, even if you choose to serve, even if you choose to follow, you're not doing it because you're a part of the masses. You're doing it because you like this team and what they got going for them. So you're like, hey, I'm gonna join this team. Like, oh my God, I have to do this because if I don't do that, no, you got to transcend that. You see, one of my core things I focus on here, Jesus on the cross. You see, the masses are dead set on leaving him on the cross. They're dead set on that because if they seen that in real life, every single one of them would be like, hey, he died for my sins. Because they wouldn't be able to admit to themselves, like, bro, he's an innocent man. We got to get him down. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the guts to do that. They couldn't step up. They wouldn't be able to step up. And understand, if you can at least consider it, if you can consider that, maybe the way we perceived it all this time is wrong, you're good. Because if that's in your core, there's no way in hell you can ever go back to the lower realm to the point where that mark is imposed on you. You can't. They're going to be dealing with it. Because they would let an innocent man die. What type of world all of them people together are going to create versus what type of world you have when you have a bunch of people that are willing to say, hey, he's innocent, take him off of there. If you got a world of people willing to do that, government oppression cannot happen. Any type of craziness like that cannot happen. You can't get herded like sheep. It can't happen in a world where everybody's got the guts to stand up for somebody. So I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad you're here. And if something doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Everybody's different. But I'm here to, give you what I can, and that's really it. That's really it. That's, saying, if if you was lost and couldn't find your purpose or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Understand, like, look, it's just a situational thing. Sometimes you're gonna have bad moments. A bad moment isn't a bad life, because you a train, really. You a player in this. You feel me? You a train. You're basically just like a luxury train going all over the place. You're going at your speed. You make your next stop. Then you make your next stop. Then you make your next stop. Some people get in. Some people get off. Either way, you're going to go and you're going to be there at 10 o'clock today. No matter who riding or who not. You feel me? Like, that's what you is. Because nobody else can move you. You move you. And if you got to ban somebody from the train, so be it. I hope this could help you. Birds don't really exist.